Hello all. Today I'm going to show you how Fusion 360 can be used for the model preparation. I have a quite a big assembly over here which comprise of an part and the metal insert. So as you can see there are some metal inserts highlighted over here and the main plastic geometry. The first part of this demonstration is to show you how Fusion 360 can be used for creating the cutout geometry. The customer has already created some cutout but has missed out some portion to create a cutout. We can use quickly an inspection tool which allow you to take the sections of the part, select the face and just push it inside. With the difference in the hatching area, you could able to see that which are the metal sections and which are the plastic sections. So here it has been missed out. So I would be use a Boolean operation to create a cutout over here. So just quickly get back and I'm going to stop the analysis, or I will just say delete it, and then I will move on to the combine, and I'm going to select the main body, and the tool bodies would be this will be the sections which I want to create an impression on the plastics. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So I'm going to keep the tool body because these would be needed for me during the mold flow analysis to transfer the heat from this tool to the plastic and hit OK. And as you can see that now the cutout has been created. If you now take the section quickly, you can see that now a different hatching has been created for all the three sections, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go back. Now this body is quite a big assembly, and I could see that this is an actually a symmetric assembly. So I'm going to use some of the commands in Fusion 360 to create a split or the symmetric sections so that I have less work to do into the in geom or mesh corrections. At the same time, I could see there are a lot of fillets over there created on the ribs. To reduce down the number of sections over here, to reduce down the number of elements in these areas, I'm going to use Fusion 360 for simplification as well. So first and foremost, I'm going to cut this geometry into the 4 sections. How I'm going to do that? I'm going to use a split tool over here, split body. This is the body, and here I'm going to use planes and hit OK. So you can see that it has just created like a cutter type of thing, which is going to cut my body symmetrically. Just a click button and you can see that it has been created, and a new body has been created over here. I'm going to create half. Since I have not selected my inserts for it, which I would be hiding it, and I'm also going to create this into the further half. So split body, selection of the body, and I'm going to use this plane for the section. I'm going to hit OK, and this is, so I have left with only like in 1/4 of the body. And before I move on that, I'm going to create a simplification of it. So there is two ways to do the simplification. Once you are in the design mode, you can do the simplification by selecting, okay, I want to use the, no need for that. So you can just go and select the faces, hold the control button and select these faces very quickly. The Yeah, the best part of Fusion 360 is that as you delete these faces, the geometry is automatically healed at those locations. It extends those faces and make a like a connected geometry. So this is, I know it's like a little tedious process of selecting that. There is an auto selection as well. I'll show it to you, but this is quite fast when it execute the command. So I selected few of that and just hit delete. So very quickly it just removes and it heals up that one. So I'm going to remove those all of that. So the other thing that you can use it from design, you can move on to the simulation. And when you move on to the simulation, it will ask you, do you want to simplify the geometry? You say yes. And then you can use the simplify surfaces. There's an option called remove features. Okay, here you can see that this big component has come up. Maybe probably I need to hide those things. So uncheck the select all, and you also hide this so that you don't, and then you are left with this, and you just say select this and you say fillet. Select the body. Only one body should be selected. And you say, instead of selecting all, you just say fillets. It automatically selects all the fillets. Okay, so here you can see that there is a something selection this difference, so probably you may need to filter out those selections, or you can go with a very simplified one. Initially you just begin with the smaller fillets, and then one by one you can remove all these fillets in one go. Just click it and all the fillets will be striked off or removed clear in one go. So I already created the geometry for you. This is how it looks like. After cleaning up, you can see this quite a clean geometry ready for the analysis. Now here you cannot move on to the design. If you go back to the design, it will just move on to the original geometry. From here there is an option directly pushing the geometry to the inside. So you can push in the geometry. When you push the geometry, it will ask you, do you want to create a new project or you want to import in the existing project? So given options, you can create in the existing project, just open up and push in the geometry over there, or you can create a new project. So in this case, I have already created the project. I have imported this geometry, and now when you import geometry, it gives a very erratic name to it, something very long name. You can change the name as for your convenience, whatever the name that you want to put in over there. And then what I created is that I created the mesh on this single part. and I deleted the faces or the elements on these faces and just replicated again. So in final, this is how it looks like. And I stitched up everything with one command, merge nodes, and my dual domain mesh is ready. But this part is quite chunky, thick, so I would be moving on to the 3D part, and I created the mesh separately for the insert. See, the insert I created a very coarse mesh because this is just needed for me to do the heat transfer. And finally, I have it like in the and you can see that the mesh for the insert and the mesh for the parts. So this is where you can save a lot of your elements, just those are being created along the fine sections can be easily be stacked up, and you can optimize the number of elements and thereby run the analysis much faster. So these were like a simple trick and tips that you use it and for cleaning up the model and getting started up, so that your analysis, the chances of getting success of analysis in first go are much higher than struggling out and cleaning up the model for you. I hope this video was useful and you use the Fusion 360 for the model preparation. Thank you, and I will be keeping on posting more such tips and tricks videos for you.